Well, good afternoon, fellow Airsoft folk of St. Louis area. I wanted to do a kind of closure video as far as the Kythera build that I've been rocking. At least I did for past 2 years. Because I haven't made any footage of it in a long while. I did a little bit in the range testing video that I did with Ghost, showing off his MTW's range. And reason being has been the struggle of trying to get this thing to be consistent throughout an entire magazine. Now, we will say that with the last video about Fish's Kythera build, yeah, use 100 round mags. Don't use 250 round PTS mags. Those basically mid-feed disaster, or mid-cap syndrome feeding. Sorry, I shortened it. Now, with the Kytheras, what we're finding is that this big heavy brass nozzle, that because it's a full mechanical system, when it hits the BB, it can transfer too much kinetic energy into the BB. And then what you have, as I'll show on the board here, if you have a speed bump style, you'll typically stop the BB in the same place every time. However, you won't have as much range because you don't have as much contact patch in order to put a backspin on. So most speed softers running Kytheras and G&G greens, Prometheus purples, they're having a great time with consistency, but they're not really shooting that far. For us, we like to play outdoor, and our problem is that with the R-hop style or even areas in between, been going through quite a few variants. I can show you in a moment just a sample. But the idea is there's a transition point between speed bump and full R-hop where you can kind of optimize the Kythera as far as BB position so you get the same amount of backspin every shot. That's been the struggle, is finding that combo. I wasn't clear about that in the past 2 years of footage just because of I myself was still learning what I was fighting. I didn't realize that Mad Bull Reds in the Freedom DMR were absolutely brilliant with 90 round GMP magazines. Hence why that shot brilliantly from the get-go for however long, and then suddenly I ruined it by using 220 round EMG, the Evike mags, which suddenly caused mid-cap syndrome. And I didn't use the Mad Bull Reds that have little slow stoppers inside of the lips that get the BB nice and easy into position before firing through the R-hop I had in it. So I didn't realize I had such a perfect recipe in the Freedom DMR, why it performed so well. I kind of, either I was smarter back then or I got really lucky. But with the Kythera, like I said, I mean, we've got a whole assortment of Bugatti toys that we played with from, varying degrees. I tried split speed bumps from Matrix. I've tried different brands of regular speed bumps like Garter, King Arms, a whole slew of things. I even let Fish try them in his. The best that I had found for the Kythera up till recently was the Reap's 80-degree hardness bucking. It kind of looks like a rooftop V-blocking the BB going through. I didn't have good luck with the True Hops, and I did try making my own R-Hops recently, but again, same thing, positioning is an issue. Hence why I think the videos that kind of somewhat caught on the channel, I showed some maple hop testing with it, and it was alright, but again, consistency wasn't great. So it was recently that I realized from looking at what Wolverine was doing, you can do tensioners on the bucking lips to slow down the BB entering. So then you don't have to rely on such a hard speed bump in order to position the BB. You can actually use a tensioner to slow it down as it's going through the lips, kind of similar to the Mad Bull Reds. But again, varying depending on what ring you use and what bucking you combine it with. And then the Wolverine Airsoft Phoenix hop-up chamber that we've gotten Ghosts and Spaz's MTWs, infinitely adjustable, and we've got those things dialed with a couple of SHP5 and MHP5 style buckings. So that's why they shoot absolute lasers. And I gotta admit, this video is about me caving in, retiring the Kythera build, because I could not get this build to perform as well as an MTW. Hence, I have a Gen 2 forged with a Phoenix hop-up included on the way. And that'll be shown off soon in some gameplay. But for finishing up with the Kythera, the best we could do is, again, these SI Alpha hop-up chambers with the bucking lip tensioner, and then with the Quantum Orange buckings, those Friction Pros. We found that was basically the most contact area you could do above a speed bump style and be consistent shooting. So that's what Fish is rocking currently. But it's still not to the performance of an MTW. Simply because, again, fighting this big heavy nozzle and positioning that baby, you can't use the full contact R-Hop style or even SHP5 style buckings that are kind of close to a Maple Leaf Super Macaron. You can't get the same lift on heavy BBs as you can in an MTW that doesn't have this placement problem. So while it works, great for maybe mid-range, maybe up to 150 feet, it's not the MTWs that are shooting 300 plus feet better than my SR25 right out the box. With just, again, you could probably still rock their Maple Leaf Super 70s. I just chose to go with the Gottis because I think they do get just a little bit better because their bucking lips work better with the tensioner system. They got longer lips compared to the Maple Leaf that's kind of short-lipped. So the tensioner only does so much with those. That's just personal preference. You could definitely, people are rocking MTWs with stock Maple Leaf Super 70s, no issue. But man, I really wanted this Kythera build to work because mechanical trigger, extremely nice. There's no denying that the MTW does suffer from a mouse switch problem. I mean, if you go with the forged, you get the blackleaf board style click switches that do have a kind of a positive engagement whenever you do fire, whereas the base MTWs have the dead triggers. So I am looking forward to MTW performance. I do wish we could have made this Kythera build work, at least to the standards I'm looking for, because I mean I'm fully dedicated in Airsoft. This isn't just a hobby for me at this point. So that's kind of my summary for everyone who has considered HPA. I will say, while Kythera is nice for speed, soft, reliability, no batteries, just run and gun, it doesn't give you the long-range performance that you can definitely get out of a MTW build at effectively less cost than an MTW fully invested. Because I went with the full PDI barrel, I had the multiple hop-up chambers I experimented with, the buckings, and then the cost of the engine and the cost of the gun itself. Yeah, way more invested in this Kythera. I think I'm around $1,600 into it. You go get a forged for $950 and outgun this thing in any environment, whether it's CQB, mid-range, long-range. The only benefit for the Kythera is that it's fully mechanical. I really don't believe that's worth it. So we'll see if maybe we find a new home for this Kythera either within the group or someone else locally. I'd like to keep it within the group just so I can, if there's anything that comes up with it, I knew how to get to this point and how to keep it at this point, because it's been such a struggle for, again, 2 years. Well, enough rambling. Y'all can get back to your day. Have a good one.